Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at an optic that costs more than a used 98 Civic with mostly highway miles. This is the Steiner M8Xi.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong like a tree. There's roots where I stand. Oh, I've been running from the law. Hope they won't shoot me down soon. This ain't gonna sleep this night. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the moon. Try to catch me howling at the
This channel is proud to be supported by the Firearms Policy Coalition, the very guys that are out there fighting for our rights every single day. So make sure you click that link in the description box, become a member, and donate when you can. Spartan Arms in North Las Vegas, Nevada. If you're ever in Spartan Arms in North Las Vegas, make sure that you tell them the Daily Shooter sent you. Also, we have new shirts that are available in my store. So you can see right here, we have the Daily Shooter Freedom Alliance. If you're into the Second Amendment, you are a fan of this channel, make sure you check out the Daily Shooter Freedom Alliance. Let's get started.
Hope they won't shoot me down soon.
Okay, so the Steiner M8Xi, this is a proven combat optic. This optic is actually being used by special forces around the world. So you know that if they're using it, there's a good chance that not only does it fit the role that they're using it for, but it's also pretty tough. This is a very, very durable optic. As a matter of fact, I believe this thing is waterproof down to 60 meters. So it has got a lot of great attributes to it. As far as the design elements, this thing is designed actually for the tactical environment. So it is meant to have clip-on thermal, clip-on night vision, pretty much everything that you would want if you're somebody who's going to be going out and doing stuff like that. Now, why would you need this in a civilian world, or why would you spend that much money on a particular optic? Well, I think if you want something that's in the top 3, 4 best low variable power optics in the world, I think this is definitely one that you're going to want to have. Okay, so now let's talk about some of the tech specs, details, and features of the Steiner M8Xi. Now, earlier I was saying that I thought this was submersible to maybe 60 meters, but I always make sure to double check the specs before I get to this part of the video. And it's actually submersible to 20 meters, which is still either comparable or better than some other optics that are, again, in the same category. So this is completely submersible and submersible down to 20 meters. Now, this is a really tough, very rugged optic, but what surprised me is for the type of ruggedness that you get out of it, it is still under 30 ounces. The Trijicon that I recently reviewed was a pretty heavy optic. It is, I mean, just about bomb-proof, but it's still kind of a heavy optic. This one right here is about 26.4 ounces. So in comparison, again, to other scopes that are in the same category, I would say it's kind of right on par or even a little bit lighter than those. So 26.4 ounces. It is 10.5 inches long, and I measured it at about 3 5/8 inches wide. One of the nice things about this scope right here is that you'll see that the objective lens, where the objective lens sits in relation to the turrets, is very, very short. I got basically 3 fingers from the end of the adjustment turret to the end of the scope itself. And the reason that is because it's meant to allow you a little bit more space if you need to add aftermarket parts like clip-on devices, thermal devices, night vision optics, things like that. So if you're going to be going out and doing something that is, you know, specific in particular at night, this allows you to do that without taking up so much space that it's hanging over the end of the rifle. So this is kind of a purpose-built piece right here. Now, the Steiner M8Xi is a 1 to 8 power scope. So if you guys are familiar with the M5 series, the M5 series was a 1 to 5 power scope. And while people loved that scope, and it was used, and you know, a lot of people liked it, and people talked about it, it was used by the military and so forth, the 5 power really just seemed to kind of be lacking. And there's a lot of people that said, oh, it's great, but it stops at 5 power, and there's other options out there that go to 6 power or even 8 power. So that's kind of where their excitement stopped. Now with the 1 to 8, you basically have the same platform as the M5, but again, you have that higher power magnification. So 1 to 8. This does have a 34mm tube, so the 34mm tube is something you're going to have to be aware of if you're also at the same time shopping for scope rings. So make sure you get those 34mm rings. Very nice 34mm tube. I love the 34mm stuff because you end up with a great light transmission. You end up with a very nice clear picture and an excellent field of view. It has a 24mm objective, and I got to tell you, this thing is pretty feature packed. Now, try and keep in mind that Steiner is mostly a European company, and so from my understanding, all of their optics are still in mills. So if you're looking for something that's in MOA, you're probably not going to find it in the Steiner lineup. However, if you can learn mill, if you can kind of get into that, it's actually got some really nice, fine, precise adjustments. If you ask me, it's much more fine than MOA. I know that MOA is very easy to learn. You're looking at 100 yards, 1.04 inches, and every click is a quarter of an inch. It's very easy to get into MOA, or at least Americans can understand MOA. When it gets into mills, there are some people out there that are still just a little bit touchy about getting into that. But I can tell you, if you can take the time to actually learn it, it's a very fine and precise reticle option. Now, this one right here has 0.1 mil adjustments. Very big knobs. I mean, I'm sure you guys can see that. It looks like a rim of a car. I mean, these things are huge, but they're meant to be very big. They are somewhat low profile. I mean, they don't stick up super high, but again, they're not like really low profile like certain turrets that I've seen. These are non-cap turrets, so you have access to the turret right here. They are lockable. But one nice thing about them is that they are, I mean, it takes a little bit to turn them, but not too much. But you have that little audible click, and you also have that tactile feel each time you grab onto that knob and you make those turns. What's nice is, even if it's hot outside, like some of the time I was filming, it was 115 degrees, and your hands are super sweaty, you can really grab onto this still and give it a nice turn. If you have gloves on your hands, you're still going to be able to grab it. So even though they're a little bit bigger than what I like, and they kind of look funny, to be honest with you, again, it's a purpose-driven scope. It's not really what you guys think about the looks, it's what it does. So it is it's got these big knobs on it. Now, it does have a pop-up feature, so if you're on your second rotation of the turret, so you can see on the side, hopefully I can show you guys right here, there's a little dot on the side. I'll see if I can get a close-up of it. That will actually pop up if you're on your second rotation of the turret to let you know that you're on your second rotation. So it's nice that it gives you that little heads up right there. The adjustment throw lever is really, really nice. It is a rubberized throw lever, so you have this kind of soft, really it's not squishy, but it's very easy to grip onto. It's very grippy. And then it has this tiny little throw lever on it right there. It is, I would say, in terms of the hardest to the easiest to turn, I would say I'd give it like a 5, okay? So it doesn't take a whole ton of effort to go from 1 to 8, but at the same time, it's not so loose that it's just gonna flip back and forth like nothing. Adjustable diopter. One thing about this scope right here is it has almost 4 inches of eye relief, so a pretty good amount of eye relief. I think it's 3.74 inches of total eye relief. But again, keep in mind that usually the eye relief changes between magnification settings. So if you're going from 1 power up to 8 power, you may have to adjust your cheek weld in order to get a proper proper side alignment, parallax, and sight picture. So here is the knob that you would use in order to adjust the brightness level, because this particular reticle right here, which is, I believe, let me see. It's on the box. I'm gonna have to double check the box. What they call DMR 8i. Okay, so this is a designated marksman optic right here, and they call it the DMR 8i reticle, which has excellent windage, excellent holdovers. It is a multi-caliber optic. So once you learn your holdovers, your windage, and once you have your dope on a particular round, you're gonna be good to go. So I forget what we were talking about right here, but oh yeah, the adjustment levels. Looking at 11 different brightness settings, but here's what I can tell you from my personal experience is that even on the 11th setting, I did not find this to be daytime visible. Now, I live in the desert, which is a good chance that's where this thing would go if it was in the military, because it is their Coyote color. They have Coyote, and they also have black. Now, with the 11th setting all the way up, it's not daytime bright, but that's not a big deal because the reticle is extremely visible, as you guys can see from the video. It's extremely visible, and then when the light starts to go down, let's say, you got just just about to go down from the mountain, you know, everything's starting to get a little bit dark, that's when the reticle starts popping out on the 11 power. And then when it's just about completely dark out, you actually have to tamp it down just a little bit. But it does have night vision settings, and you know, you'll be able to use that and still be able to see the reticle if you're using night vision. So again, it just about covers every basis that you're gonna want in a tough combat optic. I think if you guys are looking for something for a 3-gun, this would still work, easy. It would definitely still work, but I think that this is something that's a little bit meant more for tactical purposes. Now, my experience with this scope has been great. I mean, I've had a really good time with it. It is very easy to see through. It's got great color. I mean, the color is fantastic. You can still see the greens on everything. When you have it turned it all the way up to 8 power, it doesn't take away any of that color. It doesn't gray anything out at all. Edge-to-edge clarity. The glass is very nice, multi-coated. It is a really nice optic. I mean, I've had a really good time with it. This optic was sent to the channel by Optics Planet, and Optics Planet's always been really good to me, and when they suggested this optic, I was really curious to try it out, because I mean, for, you know, almost $3,000, it better be awesome. And this scope is, I got to tell you, it's pretty awesome. I mean, after you test scope after scope after scope for year after year after year, they can all start to kind of look the same and feel the same. This one definitely steps out of the box and gives you something that you want. So I was really impressed with it. I think it's a great scope. You're going to have to determine whether or not it's worth the money. I mean, that's got to be up to you. And there's people out there where $3,000 isn't that big of a deal, and they just want the best of the best, so they just go buy it. And that's it. And then there's other people who have to scrape together everything that they have just to, you know, get something that's completely budget. And so for them, it's completely out of their price range and not even something that they would consider. So you got to figure whether or not, hey, this works into your budget. You know, don't not pay the rent for it. But you have to figure, again, you know, is it something that you're going to be using for personal defense, home defense, you know, defensive liberty rifle, something that you have just for that, you know, holy crap, things are going down rifle, or is it something that you're going to be using for work? You know, you're a professional, you're going to be using this for work, and so you want something that's not going to let you down, and so $3,000 is worth your life. That's kind of where this little scope comes in right here. Anyway, yeah, definitely worth checking out. Again, go to my website, thedailyshooter.com. Head over there. You'll find this corresponding video. You'll find direct links to this product itself, as well as the discount code, and you guys can check it out for yourself. I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.